Chapter 6 Air Brakes. Chapter 6 Air Brakes. TM 55285 War Department Technical Manual Operations Railroads General Instruction Inspection Maintenance Rolling Stock. Chapter 6 Air Brakes. Section 1 General Responsible. Generally, all personnel responsible for the training operation maintenance of the air brakes, either directly and indirectly, will understand elementary air brake function principle. Operation ensure economic handling freight with the passenger traffic to minimize loss of life of damage, rolling stock, and lading. Engine, fireman, conductor, brakeman, train crews. First essential for this class of personnel is the ability to manipulate skillfully with the brake system as a whole, involved with the general knowledge, function, feature of the obtainable, given the system necessary to learn how to preliminary train tests before starting, how to operate the brake valve to secure the best result of the train control under different running conditions that exist with the given territory is of secondary importance that the personnel have the knowledge of the general knowledge of the various individual devices, component of the brake system, very familiar with the movements of the parts, intricacy of the various air pressures and reports and passages. C. Air brake foreman, repairman, test, and rack operator. This class personnel is concerned primarily with the initial construction, operation, proper function, moving part of the individual air brake device, therefore studying with the ports and passage chamber for the pressure, air pressure for the principle of the internal operation. First, important for the knowledge and manipulation. Secondary should be incurred for the far as time and the opportunity to permit. D. Air brake instructors and perspective of the roadman, foreman, engine, the train master. For these officials of the personnel will understand the function features available to each of the type of the freight car with the passenger car brake equipment. They'll be familiar with the general recommendation, manipulation, air brake system, specific instruction thereto, and including throughout with the understanding of the condition produced with the brake into with the slid flat wheels, stiff shot strain with the train handling, other damage, rolling stock with the landing that will know the internal operation function of the individual device of the maintenance apparatus. And train test the brake efficiency, but this should now be approved for the methods of the organization instruction for the different class of personnel. Section 2, freight equipment cars. Precautions. Before undertaking any work on the freight equipment, the care of cars where an application of the brake might result in the personal injury, personnel will close cutout cock in the branch pipe, block the reservoir and valve open. Release valve rods will not be destroyed with the bent to block the release valve open. With the AB equipment, the wedge will not be driven into the duplex release valve. Assemblies will be damaged and personal cutting out with the brakes that are responsible for cutting in such brake efficiencies after maintenance work is completed. 94. Rolling stock not equipped with air brake. The following instruction will govern the paragraph. The handling of the rolling stock with not equipped with air brake will possess an efficiency with a hand brake with a hand hold still steps likely in accordance with the AAR safety appliance for the act. This covers the special equipment such as the steam shovel, the air and legs that being offered with the interchange. Any rolling stock not equipped with a brake pipe will be fitted with a temporary 1 1/4 inch brake pipe with a 1 1/4 inch angle fitting stand with the air hose of the both ends of each end of the angle fitting of the steering with a shipping tag will be placed bearing with the date and station and with the pipe was applied. No more than 15% of the rolling stock and even the train will be handled brake. The remaining 85% of the power brake with the operative air brake equipment of the tender is considered to be a piece of the rolling stock. Hand brake rolling stock as mentioned above will not be placed to the tender and can occupy any other person with a train head with a caboose which more than a hand brake is to be handled within the train, and they will be scattered throughout the train in order to protect those of the equipped with the power brakes. 95. Terminal repairs and terminal yards. Test repairs and terminal yards. Terminal tests will be given in all the train with the original points for the inspector of the train yard. Air for lines used making such tests will be blown on free with moisture for the train yards by coupling the car to the air hose. Well, when inspections are employed with a general inspection of all the cars upon arrival of the terminals, they will make visual inspection of the piston, travel, the retaining valve, the pipes, and the release valve of the rods, brake rigging, hand brakes, hose, and position angle cocks will make necessary repairs of the power or mark for repair tracks. Any car that which yard repairs cannot be made properly. Freight trains arrive in the terminals where facilities are available. The intermediate with inbound braking inspection will be allowed with the remaining with the air brakes valve applied. But the freight train will not depart with the dispatching point when men and the materials are available for repairs without all air brakes being good repair. In operating properly, cars with the inoperable brakes will be repaired in shop, but the trains will be trusted before with the air brake for the test in order to locate the defects more readily. The air brake system will be charged at 70 pounds pressure with the either yard line or locomotive, after which with the care inspection which made with the brake pipe with the connection to hose cutout, angle cock. Any necessary repairs will be made with the brakes or attached to the yard line with the testing device will be used. After the brake pipe, the repair for the terminal will be made with the making of the 15-pound brake pipe. Reduction in full pressure brake pipe leakage from the maximum 5 pounds per minute. If the train is not fully during the test of the application of the brakes will be called with the brake pipe pressure to flow into the point of the way of the lowest of the indicated with the gauge of the brake pipe leakage. Trains therefore will be charged fully with the brake supply with the type of the AB equipment with the empty reservoir is required at least 7 minutes to charge. After the brakes are applied with the train is determined by if the train triple valve with the AB valve will operate with a service application. 2 piston treble, 3 brake cylinder pipe leakage, 4 cylinder retaining valve with its piping, 5 brake rigging does not bind or follow and shoes are firmly against the wheels. F. The inspector cannot check at any entire train in 10 minutes. Breakers may be released and recharged, and any other test method where is not inspected. First test, any and all defects found by the examination of the brake supply will be repaired in car shop. G. After the train is inspected with the brake supply with the brakes released, E. For the yard line through the choke of the testing device from the locomotive, the cars will be inspected to see that the brake with the release from the without use of the release valve or out of the brakes following the release of the yard line locomotive will not operate properly on line or road where brakes are tested from the yard lines. Leave air attached until the locomotive is coupled. The carman will report with the conductor engineer with the number of the air brakes of the cars in service in the train. The condition of the brake of the brakes will not apply with the release of the properly will be repaired with the car shop. H. Making of the terminal test for the yard changing plant is restricted to the trains made up of one over the track only with the yard charging plant with the test device attached for the same point with the train with the locomotive with the coupled with the train. Failing to meet with these requirements, receive the terminal test after the road to the locomotive is coupled with the word terminal with the test is made with the yard plant with the only road test in the area after the locomotive couples. Road test will be made as well after the locomotive is attached. The brake pipe pressure is equal to the engine or a pound of the sheet with the signal of the trainman with the inspector will make a 15-pound continuous brake pipe reduction, notifying with the brake valve discharge of the proper amount of the air. After the brake valve exhaust, the engine man will take brake pipe leakage for 1 minute. With the brake leakage will not exceed 5 pounds from 55 pounds. With the trainman inspector observe the rear of the brake supply with the signal engine man to relieve the brake of the brake pipe leakage. The test is completed. If the release of the rear brakes takes in place, it will indicate that no angle cocks were left closed. The following air brake tests will be made with the points of the motive power with the engine of the train crew with the chain with the assume with the locomotive is coupled with the train with the required pressure for the 70 pounds equal out of the train throughout the train. Engine man upon the request of the train man inspector will make a 15-pound continuous brake pipe reduction hold of the brake supply with until the train man inspector have examined the brakes on the tender for each of the car. When the brake valve with the exhaust closed for the engine man will time the brake pipe leakage for 1 minute. Brake pipe leakage will not exceed 5 pounds with the 55 pounds. If the train man inspector found that the brakes have applied with a signal brake with the relief the engine man with the release brake where the trainman inspection will examine the brakes of each of the car to make sure that the brakes have released properly without the use of the release valve before training is applied with the part of the car inspector are making inspection. This will station themselves with the locomotive observer of the brakes on each of the car relief if the train pulls out with the brakes if they're found with not to have the release properly. Inspectors will signal the trainman into the rear of the end of the train who will stop at the end so that the condition can be corrected. In addition to the above terminal test at the last terminal inspection point of the train is prepared with a descent mount engraved throughout the test of the retaining valve of the piping will be made with all defects corrected. The retaining valve with the triple valve and the AB valve with the release position must retain brake pressure for more than 2.5 minutes for the show of the good exhaust of the handle of the turn down with the piston travel that exceeds 9 inches to less than 7 inches will be adjusted to 7 inches at last inspection prior point. Inspection point prior to the descending mounting grade of the piston treble that will adjust to 7 inches for the tonnage trains. With the AB equipment with a 60-70 check with the required with the brake pipe vent with the close after the brake has been applied with the emergency do not relief the such brakes required for the time that has elapsed with the blowout has stopped. Pulling the release rod with the limit of the travel to believe with the bolt with the emergency reservoir volume and auxiliary reservoir volume of the car pulling the release rod lightly on until the discharge of the air has heard bleed auxiliary reservoir volume only. 96 test and repair shop within the shop track. The airline will blown out will clear them with the moisture before they connect to the brake hose of the car. Cylinders and triple valves other than those specified herein that are not cleared within 14 months indicate the standard marking will be cleaned on an empty car with is loaded on cars of the repair with the other track after expiration of 15 months the air brakes are on all cars are equipped. Cleaned. See the type AB brake equipment not cleaned within 35 months, but indicate the standard marking will be cleaned on empty cars and is also loaded on the car's repair track with the other work as of the expiration within 36 months. Air brakes on all of the cars will be cleaned. Single car testing device TC stock number 1880 84 80 100 figure 111 and 112 provided with the means of marking general check condition of brake equipment or in date of the cars while the instrument on the cars undergo the periodic repairs without removing any of the device of the car. 1. There are two types of single car testing the device with a similar appearance with the one passenger car to the other freight car with the passenger device identified with the nameplate which marked with the PAS for passenger with the nameplate with the device makes AFRRT for freight. With the device test made with the determined operating valve with the associated device should be removed with the car test of their respective test rack with the retain obtained with a consider the preliminary check only with a sense of the exact condition of the aim of the device to be determined only with the standard test rack with a TC socket number 18620776 provide for that purpose of the operating valve of the test with the specified with the test with the determined with the signal car testing device faulty under no condition will operate the valve with the condemned before the test the standard test rack. Care will be exercised with the moving the tap with the device hand with the position number 3 of the lab with the figure 111 and 112 of them for making brake pipe production 15 pound with the more position number 5 of the stamp. Back temperature effect will cover the brake pipe with the pressure of the 1/2 2 pound with the maybe to be covered with the undesirable relief the device hand will move slowly toward the lap position. When the testing car have double the brake with equipment, each for the equipment will be tested separately with the operating valve with the cutout wall with the other equipment will be tested with the device for the complete test including the brake pipe leakage will be made with each equipment with the brake pipe leakage test with the equipment necessary in order to detect any leakage path with the operating valve with the cutout cock, operating valve connections and like. Show the quick charging position and show the single car testing device with the slow charging position lap. The slow application A, service stability and application emergency application, and the single car testing device. It shows the supply and the single car testing device with the brake pipe. 97 of the brakes down due with the periodic attention of the responsible person will connect with the single car tip of the device, right tip of the over the inline with the car brake hose with the blow of the air with the brake pipe with the open angle cover with the opposite end with the dislodge with the pipe scale with the dirt with the supply with the dummy coupling opposite hose. Charging system applies soap start with the test of the air hose with the angle cap with the replace with the cutout cocks with the leak with around the top of the key. 2B the check with the defects. Angle cocks shift with the handle slack with the loose with the key with the broken stop with the lug with the handle with the slack with the excessive play with the hinge pin with the any of the all conditions may permit with the stop of the handle socket. Pass over the stop lug with the body with the fully closed position. May result with the shear with the brake trouble to remove the angle cap possessing any of the defects any of the designated shop for repairs on caboose car with the test angle cock with the key with the leakage for the replay with the defect with the A with the brake cylinder test with the device with the triple valve with the exhaust ports with the standing valve with the exhaust port with the assemble the testing device locally. D. Test the triple valve with the AB with the valve with the L with the test claim with the repair with the necessary stem with the entire brake equipment. E. The test brake cylinder applying with the relief of the brake with the make sure with the cylinder brake with the leak with the design seed 8 pounds per minute with the initial with the pressure with the 80-50 pound with the leakage pound exceeds 8 pounds per 8 pounds clean and repair with the necessary stem with the entire with the brake equipment and on the cars equipped. Cars with the AB equipped the code with the piston pipe with the brake cylinder lubricant AAR specification M914. The test for retaining valve with the making with a 20-pound brake pipe production, then release. The brake with the vent port with the valve with the high pressure position. Make sure the hole with the brake apply with the 3 minutes so that there's no leaking. Retaining the valve during the test with the retaining valve with not pass with the test with the clean the valve with apply with the new repair valve with the repeat tab with the replace wasp excluder. Retaining valve with the car's equipped during the above tab with the air hose possesses any of the condemnable defect section 3 of chapter 3 replace with the hose. If the piston treble is less than 7 inches more than 9 inches adjust to 7 inches. See with the pipe clamp with the type of the angle cap with the proper position. Blake cylinder reservoir bolted with that lead with their support. A bar will be used to determine the cylinder reservoir are loose. 98. Brake cylinder due to the periodic attention except for the brake cylinder, the leakage defect with the triple valve, the responsible personnel will live after the nose made over the old sent for the scrape level the off the complete with the paint over the quickly drying black paint with connect with a single car tap with the device with the hard line with the car with the blowout with the brake pipe. Then attack with the dumpling coupling to the hose with the opposite end with the couple out with the brake with the disconnect with the brake ring, brake cylinder with the imply with the piston clamp with the piston sleeve with the remove the nuts with the brake cylinder head with the 1.5 inch wrench. Move the entire piston non-pressure head with the charge with the auxiliary reservoir, but then make the emergency application in order to blow with the dirt auxiliary reservoir tube. But when doing this, making sure that no one in front of the brake, in front of the brake cylinder, where the person might receive the injury if the eye is closed with the cutout cock with the branch pipe with the lead with a single car type of device in position number 1, figure 112. Move the cap at the bottom of the central figure of the dirt collector with the cleaning dirt throughout, leave with the opening with the cutout cock with the branch pipe with the blow it out with the flat with the compound anti-seize product, some with the number AS with the cap thread with the collectors and replace with the if the toe stool with the deteriorated badly broken off with the apply with the cap with the good condition, check the valve with the bent with the missing. Apply a new one when the dirt collector with the end stand vertical with the dirt chamber down with the area with the pointing toward the triple valve. Make sure the triple valve with the type of the sand with the car with the remove it from the studs applying with the repair triple valve with the reservoir. We use the only one of the gasket between the triple valve with the auxiliary reservoir. For the good beef around with the whole place with the gasket with the triple valve with the B side with the 4 with the triple valve with the plow with the both with gasket with the triple valve with the reverse reservoir stub. Use only with the triple valve stub with the nuts for the attached with the triple valve with the reservoir. Make sure that the stub with the good threads are screwed firmly with the reservoir. Not ever use the old hose gasket in triple valve unions. Clean the inside of the brake cylinder by with a dust scraper and wipe thoroughly with the dry waste. If you use avoid oil unless necessary to remove the rust spots. For the emery cup with the dry wipe dry clean. Piston head release spring with the packing cup with the lead with the leather cup with the warm and the crack with the replace with the new composition packing cup with the when the cup with the leather is off with the piston head tight and even with the loose and stuff clean the head thoroughly. Tighten the stud nuts evenly. Make sure that the packing is central on with the piston head. See the expand with the not you with the composition packing cup with the do not you with the packing cup with the habit to become the old with the harder age of this will they not be a with the airtight with the cold boil with the lubricate with the interior with the brakes on with the brakes on with the lubricant AAR specification M914. Also go with the packing of the leatherly light with the leather lightly fill with the reset next to the power of the lubricant you with the expand with the packing fill the leathers but not more than the packing cup that you with the care replace with the brakes on with the avoid the damage of the packing cup that do not be short through with the help and center packing cup with the cylinders equipped with the brakes on protective do not turn with the piston into after entering the cylinder to avoid destroying the protector. Carry the brake cylinder lubricate with the AR specification M914. Special pale furnace air brake repairman with the purpose of carrying lubricant to the excluded dirt and keep the lubricant covered with approximately 4-hour lubricant with the 8 and 10-inch cylinder. Hard G, have the piston split with the brakes on with the tight and all supporting both between the cylinder and the reservoir and their support. Have the push rod with the connected inspect with all the pins counted with the brake pit rigging to make sure that the air hose with the angle cover with the either in proper position. All of the pipes are clamped properly with the compound with the anti-seal of the product symbol AS on the male threads of the pipe. Work whenever you with the white and red lead on threads, nor use compound on the female threads. Remove it on the cup of the retaining valve with the wipe of the valve with the sheet and blow out of the pipe. Applying releasing of the brake seal of the retaining valve with the piping is secured properly. Alright, try with the rear brake stiffening the air line with the applied soap side for the test of the cock with the pipe joint for the air hose, the air around with the type triple valve, they repair all leak of the air, and an air hose possesses any of the condemnable defects seen in section 3 of the chapter 3 of the rule number 8. The repair hose place hose then apply with the brake cylinder testing device for the triple valve with the exhaust port and retain valve with the exhaust with the test triple valve with the special with the single car test device code of the test certain if they operated properly with the test brake cylinder to ensure that it does not leak for the more than 5 pounds per minute. The initial pressure for the 50-pound with the brake is applied with a fully released single car to test device with the brake cylinder leakage is shown on the test gauge of the brake cylinder test device. The next testing retaining valve will apply with the brake fully when the triple valve is relieved to make sure that the retaining valve hole with the brake will apply with 3 minutes at the end of the time. Air must discharge the retaining valve with the exhaust see the port with the retaining valve with the open and replace with the blocks expand with the retaining valve with the exhaust port with the retaining car. When the caboose received the periodic attention from the report the defect with the body of the train man with the compare with the air gauge with the gauge of the single car testing device with the replace with the caboose gauge with 3 pounds with the more variation noted with the caboose car test for the angle cocks through the key with the leakage with the replace with the defect with the angle cock with one with good condition adjust the piston treble 7 inches less than 7 inches more than 9 inches. Be sure that the worn shoes should replace with the brake rigging adjustment with the equal live lever travel to check the brake rigging with a edge plate. If the brake equipment is now ready for the stencil neatly using white lead only and be certain that old stencils are scraped off and painted over. Alright, 99, the AB brake equipment. General, since heavier car with the greater of the tonnage, longer the train with a heavier speed car with the more effective the rate with a single capacity freight car with a K triple valve with the AB freight brake with a design to meet the requirements to anticipate with the newly designed government freight with the car zone with the interior with equipped with a new style brake. Old cars have the brakes for the charge changed over the new design. All personnel therefore will familiarize themselves with the operation and maintenance equipment that concern with the AB brake equipment. The AB type of the brake provide with the protection of the valve elements for the entrance for the dirt with the extent of the internal between cleaning and repair additional improve the dependability of the brake operation. 3. All brake parts will be inspected each for the cleaning period to ensure the brake serviceability properly lubricated with reapply with the car. 3. B. Maintenance reconditioning AB equipment that come with the rules 8 with the section 3 of the chapter 3 which provide with the AB brakes on with the clean with at least once every 36 months with the partial AB brake equipment the old style with the connection with the K with brake with the cylinder will be cleaned at least once every 15 months. The air hose angle cock with cutout cock with the dirt collected with the retaining valve with all the piping to maintain with the corner for the foregoing instruct with the wrong paragraph with the 93 and 94 with the AB equipment. If the duplex release with the broken brake with the possesses no other defect with the AB valve with is not out of the date with the clean the release valve will be repaired with the car. The start of the emerging portion of the AB valve will be removed from the car with the bracket with the blown out with the reconditioned parts with the apply with the protection cap with the removed with the reconditioned portion of the car with the apply with the properly to the old portion of the removed with the cap with the removed with the car with the retake with the prevent with the main piston ring from coming out with the bushing shift to occur with the permanent for the ring with a fingernail with until the re-enter for the bushing do not pound on the face of the piston with the damage of the bushing. For all cylindrical strainers will be removed from the AB valve pipe bracket with the floor with the designation of the repair shop with the cleaning of new and cleaning with the train with the pocket strip with the pollution with the shifting cover and all condition valve with the dirt of the train with the remove of the pipe bracket that will be placed in the pocket of this over the accompanying with the strip of the portion shop with the reconditioning. Also with the emergency portion will be protected with the shifting cover. 5. Whenever the AB valve will be removed from the common carrier with the forwarder with the repair shop with the reconditioning will be tagged properly with the name of the shifting tab will indicate with the rags indicating the tag with the initial number of the car from which the valve was removed. The name of the station, shifting of the valve with the repair with this will prevent the loss of the baling of any of the parts applied with the 1/4 inch cotter key will be given the secure with the release valve with the handle with the release valve rod where with the smaller key that are found when they will be removed and replaced with the 1/4 inch size. A brake cylinder with the necessary with the day clean with the lubricate the AB cylinder build will be dismantled with the roof with the non-pressure head with the piston assembly. Packing couple will remove the clean with the inspect if there's deep crack with the deep scratch for the packing with the braking surface if the packing of the hole with the proper cylinder wall it will be replaced before with the packing with the couple to replace with the reapply with the swab with the lubricate with the assembly with the piston with the clean with carefully with the brushing re-lubricating until the lubricating product with the symbol of OC with the visual inspection indicate that the swab does not have the full contact with the cylinder wall will be the case of the swab the felt does not extend evenly above the holder. Swab will be adjusted to provide proper contact with this may be accomplished with the insert with the tool with the blade with the trim of the felt with the bolts with the running the tail with the round and the edge of the swab tying it up with the felt whenever the necessary with the cylinder also with the will be scraped with the white clean with the waste with the remove the old lubricant with the dirt and after the walls re-lubricated with the brake cylinder lubricant AB specification M914. Well, the cylinder dismantled with the release with the spring with the inspect with the clean with it in order to remove any with the dust of the dirt to be cleaned into the spring possessed with the run spot will be covered with the brake cylinder with the lubricant AR specification M914. After the cleaning, the air strainer of the piston rod seal with the non-pressure head with the remove of the clean with the inspect with the throw with the strainer can be removed with the inspect with the inside with the non-pressure head with the compressing with the wire spring. Retains it with the hair with the train with the broken with the deteriorated so with the brake cannot be put with a good condition by cleaning oil lubricating product symbol OC or blowing it out when it will be renewed. The piston rod will be cleaned and all the rust spot with the remove of the piston rod seal ring but it should be except for the wear any of the defects would interfere with the seal of the function that will be renewed. Piston sleeve with the coated with the brake cylinder of the lubricant AO specification M914. The felt ring will be soaked with the oil ring with the product with the symbol OC with the cylinder with the dismantle with the brake cylinder with the care will be taken to ensure that no dirt with the other corn or substance to the inch of the cylinder before it is closed with the AB equipment that will be tested with a single car testing device and freight type TC stock number 18808480 MT cars reconditioned will be found without date with the periodic intention for the L car shop with the track with the weather out of date with the brake cleaning with the receipt of the proper repair with the failed to meet the prescribed test is outlined in these instructions that the car's brake will not open out of date with stencils ignored actual test for the brake will determine whether the work is necessary. Alright, miscellaneous instruction. All gaskets removed with the untap of the cave with the brake combined cylinder reservoirs repaired with the shop over the track with the used reservoirs made must have the hydrogen static pressure test pressure of 150 pounds before applied with the new or rebuilt car with the reservoir failing with this test will be scrapped. When ordering new retaining valve, the release control retaining will specify with all the vents retaining valve will be protected with the painting with the car's retaining valve springs will not be stretched when the found with the stretch for the remove of the scraped or removed and scrapped. An angle cock with the cutout cock has been removed with the account with leakage. Any of the defect will be sent with the designated shop with the repairs. After the repairs made, they will be painted before the passenger equipment. The car is placed in the freight train. Brake piston travel will be adjusted to 8 inch if the car is equipped with the UC brake for all of the reservoir with the drain press for the application piston. Alright. Did you get your bath? Oh. Alright. If the car is equipped with the UC brakes, reservoirs, all of the drainage press for the application piston, cover the charge with the graduated release, direct release position, safety valve with the universal valve adjusted to 25 pounds with the test gauge with the shifting tag, reading adjusted for 25 pounds, applied with the valve if there's not cut out cock of the emergency reservoir pipe, this will be closed with the car is equipped with the LN brakes, safety valve with adjusted the tag and described above the addition, cut out cock of the supplementary reservoir pipe, will be closed with the drain cock left open. When the cars are returned to the passenger, shift the safety valve with the adjust for the 60-pound with the tag with the remove the cocks for the supplementary emergency reservoir pump will open the application piston, cover the shaft with the graduated release. The application piston cover the must be removed. The separate remove the rotation left of the all air pressure goes off from all reservoir. Troop trains containing freight cars will carry the 90 pounds brake pipe pressure for the trains because if the mixture of freight and passenger equipment caps over the control of the valve with the universal valve with the set for the direct relief the L and equipment clove with the cock with the prior and the supplementary reservoir. It will be unnecessary to disturb the safety valve adjustment that will be remain 60 pounds. When the caboose brake, the record periodic contention report with the train and the air gauge will be compared with the gauge from the single car testing advised with the caboose gauge will be replaced with 3 pounds more variation than noted. Retaining valve of the air hose are protected with the painting cover of the car brake. Cars equipped with the A1 caboose valve will have the following instruction plate under the glass from the air. This is a caboose valve. 1. The practice make with the brake applicate for the rear of the freight of the train when they expect with the emergency for the under all circumstances of the braking and 2 for the damage for the equipment the lady with the U with the dome with the keep of the hand with the caboose with the valve with the lap position extreme left. The stream emergency arrival at the banks of the necessary to stop with the train when the shortest possible the distance move the handle quickly with the position marked app. Extreme right with leave until the rear train stops. Alright, when necessary for the stop of the train on the rear will not immediate emergency, except for the move of the right hand with the right until the lash is notched marked to the leave of the hand with the position until the brake pipe cage handle stop with the following with the reduction installation with the stop of the train move hand with the right notch 3, leave it there until the brake pipe has stop following if the reduction still insufficient position 4 and 5 may be used. 5. Never advance the handle to the right while the brake pipe pressure is falling except to make the emergency application. 6. After the train has stopped, move the lap position extreme left. Section 3, passenger and hospital equipment cars.